This guided meditation practice on sitting with difficulty looks at the way we can respond differently to experiences that we find difficult or painful. We can often spend a great deal of effort trying to avoid or block or fight painful, difficult feelings that we don't like, or bodily sensations that are troubling us, memories and thoughts that bother us. And often that effort to block or avoid actually has the result of making things worse. So this practice is about trying to learn and develop a different way of responding to those difficult experiences through recognizing, accepting, and letting go. So to begin with, just adopting your usual mindfulness meditation position, finding a position that is both connected to the floor and grounded, feeling the connection with the cushion or the seat or the floor beneath you. And also maintaining a position of upright alertness. So noticing your back rising upwards from your bottom, upwards towards the ceiling. Your head balanced gently on your neck. Your hands resting on your thighs or in your lap. And just taking a moment to become aware of your physical presence, becoming aware of your body. Taking note of all the sensations that tell you that you are a body. Sensations of warmth, sensations of pressure where your feet are resting on the floor, where your bottom is resting on the seat. All the things that tell you that you're a living person. Perhaps just making note as well of your state of mind as we go into this meditation. Just asking yourself whether your mind feels very active and busy, or whether it feels calmer and more relaxed. And the emotional tone of your mind as we start this practice. What's your mood like? What's your emotional state? And now, as we often do, I'd invite you to turn your attention to your breath. Just noting the rise and fall of your breath. At whichever part of your body you're most aware of that movement. It might be the passage of air through your nostrils, might be the rise and fall of your chest and your shoulders. Or you may experience that movement right in your abdomen and your belly. Just noting the way that bringing our attention to our breath can help to anchor us in the present moment. And as we go through this practice, you will of course find that at times, perhaps quite often, your attention will wander off elsewhere. And it's important just to recognize that that is not something to react to as a problem, but rather it's part of what mindfulness practice is about. So recognizing those patterns of the mind, recognizing the way the mind follows from one association to another, without any intention on your part, the mind can wander off. And perhaps the only intention you have, the only intention you bring to this is to notice when and where the mind wanders, and then to make a choice to decide to bring your mind back to the focus of the practice, which at the moment is the movement of the breath. And as we go into this practice, I will be inviting you in a little while to bring your attention to something that's difficult or uncomfortable for you. And I'd suggest that rather than choosing the most difficult or painful thing that might occur to you, that you bring some sense of kindness and self-care to this by choosing something that, while it may be painful or uncomfortable or difficult, is not going to be overwhelming for you. Particularly if this is the first time you've done a practice like this, start out with the intention of taking this as an opportunity to practice a new way of relating to difficult and uncomfortable experiences, but not to bring into your attention something that's going to be too overwhelming. So with that in mind, you might notice whether there's something going on for you right now that you find difficult or painful, perhaps a bodily sensation, an ache or a pain. with something troubling your mind. But if there's nothing that arises spontaneously, then you might choose to bring your attention to bear on something that is problematic for you. Perhaps a situation in your life, a thought or a feeling that you might be struggling with, a memory. And once you've found something that meets these criteria, then to let your mind settle on it, to hold it in your attention. Just noticing what that's like. Just noting any tendency to try to think around it too much, or to think of a solution. That's not really the purpose of this practice. It's rather just to get used to the idea that we can hold a difficult experience in mind with acceptance and kindness, without having to turn away from it, but without getting overwhelmed by it. Just noticing what happens as you continue to give your attention to the same difficult experience. Does anything change, either in the experience itself or in your response to it? You could try asking yourself where you notice this particular difficulty in your body. Where is the bodily response to this painful or uncomfortable experience? Bearing in mind that emotions are not things we experience simply in our heads, we also experience them in our bodies. So what's for you the bodily experience in this moment as you hold this difficulty in your attention? It might be a feeling of tension or agitation. It might be located in a particular part of your body, in your head or your throat or your chest or your belly, your shoulders. You might experience diffusely throughout your body. So holding the difficult experience in mind and noting how you respond to that in your emotions, both in your head and in your body. And if you can locate the experience in your body, just investigating that a little. What's that bodily experience like? Does it feel light or heavy? Does it feel hot or cold? Does it feel tight or loose? Is it a particular, very well-defined sensation in a very particular part of your body? Or does it seem more fuzzy or more diffuse? And as you pay attention to this bodily experience, does it change at all? Does it become more or less intense? You might try exploring it by going in really closely with your attention right into that experience, the difficulty itself, and the experience in your body. And then pulling back a bit, seeing it with a little more distance. If at any point during this practice this becomes too difficult for you, just remember that you can always bring your attention back to a neutral sensation, like the movement of the breath, or the sensation of sound. And when you feel ready, bringing your attention back to this difficulty and the bodily experience of the difficulty. Exploring your response to that as well. Do you feel an urge to turn away or to block that experience, to block it out of your awareness? You might feel any range of different emotional responses to that experience. You might feel aversion, where you want to turn away, or you might feel curiosity, where you want to go in closer, explore it further. Just experimenting, if it feels comfortable for you, with going closer in, investigating the experience and the difficulty right up close, leaning into it and pulling away a bit, gaining a bit of distance, still observing, still watching. Perhaps coming to and fro in that way, closing in and pulling away. And again, noting the way your mind will wander at times. It will already have wandered several times, perhaps many times, during the course of this meditation. And approaching that again with an attitude of allowing and acceptance, recognizing that coming and going as part of the practice. So wherever your mind is right at this moment, wherever your attention is, I'd invite you now to let go of the focus on this difficult experience, to notice that process of letting go. Noting your own response to the letting go. And instead of holding your attention on any particular focus, now just allowing your attention to open up to any aspects of your experience that drift in and out of the field of your attention. As far as you can, allowing your attention to be fully open to whatever comes your way. I'll be bringing this practice to a close shortly with 3 rings of the bell. But you may want to wonder whether there are elements of this practice, of this approach to difficult experience that you want to take forward into your way of responding to difficulties, the way of dealing with moment-to-moment experience as you go forward.